tougher rules. Lack of economic reforms and lack of fiscal discipline has brought us into this crisis. So you also have to address these fundamental issues. That means Euro nations may have to surrender some power over their budgets to the European Union. For VOA Special English, I'm Carolyn Presutti. We have more programs at voaspecialenglish.com, where people can read, listen, and learn English with texts, MP3s, and activities. We also offer English lessons at the VOA Learning English page on Facebook. This is the VOA Special English Economics Report. European finance ministers agreed to loan Greece about $172 billion at a meeting in February in Brussels. Luxembourg's Prime Minister, Jean-Claude Juncker, announced the agreement. After a meeting of at least, I think, 13 or 14 hours, we have reached a far-reaching agreement on Greece's new program and private sector involvement that will lead to a very significant debt reduction for Greece. Under the plan, Greece's private creditors will lose more than half of the face value of their investments. The agreement also means the country will receive its second financial rescue in less than 2 years. The new loans will likely let the Greek government make a $19 billion payment on its debt by March 20th. Now, Greece must negotiate the terms of its loans with individual banks and other investors. But these creditors will have to hurry. Greece can dictate its own terms once it reaches agreement with 2/3 of its creditors. Not everyone believes Greece will be able to repay its loans. The Fitch Financial Services Company cut the credit rating of Greece. Fitch said it remains highly likely that the country will fail to meet its financial responsibilities. The Greek Parliament has agreed to the idea of spending and job cuts demanded by the European Union and the International Monetary Fund. The Parliament has to pass all 79 measures included in a reform plan before getting the rescue loans. Prime Minister Lukas Papademos has said his country has a lot of work to do before it can receive new aid. At the same time, protests continue in Greece over budget-cutting measures. Many Greeks say they have sacrificed enough. But Greece's EU neighbors are unlikely to release new loans until the budget cuts are in place. The head of the EU delegation to the United States, Ambassador João Vale de Almeida, told VOA that the Union has learned from the crisis. We learned a lot about the means that we need to have to deal with emergency situations. We didn't have them before. We developed them to deal with the cases like Greece and a few other countries. Secondly, we learned that our governance system was not yet at the right level of sophistication. And we are, in fact, changing a lot. If not, there is a small revolution going on inside the euro area in the way we deal with what we call the economic governance. There is a lot being changed. For VOA Special English, I'm Carolyn Presutti. This is the VOA Special English Economics Report. Facebook says it aims to raise $5 billion through its first public sale of stock. That would be one of the biggest initial public offerings ever. And it would be much bigger than Google's first public stock sale in 2004. That IPO raised almost $2 billion. The world's biggest social media network filed documents with the Securities and Exchange Commission on February 1st. The documents are required before the company can launch an initial public offering. A date for the sale was not immediately announced. Facebook has more than 800 million users around the world. It represents the second most visited website after Google. Now, experts say the social media company is in a position to become one of the world's most valuable internet companies. Stock expert Anupam Pallett at Greencrest Capital says that among social media sites, Facebook is in a class by itself. It's the biggest company in this space, and we believe what makes it very unique from every other company that went public last year in this space is that it is very, very profitable. Early estimates value the social network between $75 and $100 billion. That includes earlier investments by other companies. David Kirkpatrick wrote the book, The Facebook Effect. He says Facebook's IPO will be historic. Will Facebook's IPO be the biggest IPO in American history? Probably not, but it will certainly be by far the biggest internet or technology IPO we've ever seen. The stock sale could also make 27-year-old Facebook co-founder Mark Zuckerberg one of the world's youngest billionaires. Investment companies are likely to be the first to buy the stock. Investment manager Jim O'Shaughnessy points out that the price of some IPO stocks fall not long after they first go on sale. Stock in LinkedIn, Groupon, and Zynga dropped as much as 25% after going public. Many IPOs come out being very, very overvalued because they get so hyped up, and investors are so taken in by the story that they're willing to pay any amount just to be able to get into the stock. That generally translates to being very overvalued. So we generally tell investors that they should wait probably a good full year before they look at buying stock that was recently IPO'd. There were similar questions 8 years ago about Google. Today, Google is one of the world's most valuable technology companies. For VOA Special English, I'm Carolyn Presutti.
I'm Alex Villarreal with the VOA Special English Economics Report. Facebook is the world's biggest social network and the subject of the movie The Social Network. The real Mark Zuckerberg and his friends at Harvard University launched the site in 2004. Facebook says it reached 500 million users last July. Now, the American bank Goldman Sachs and the Russian company Digital Sky Technologies have friended Facebook. They are investing a total of $500 million in the company. The deal values Facebook at $50 billion, more than many publicly traded internet companies. Goldman Sachs is expected to raise $1.5 billion more by selling shares of ownership